Legislators in Lansing reportedly have struck a last-minute deal to get a tax increase on the ballot to fix Michigan's crumbling roads and bridges. Lawmakers want to raise an extra $1.2 billion a year. All right, so we've been watching this in lame duck session and got to get this roads deal done. And now it's looking like some kind of ballot issue?
Well, that's just a massive abdication of responsibility.
This to me makes me stop and say, wait, what?
Yeah, so we can't decide, is what they're saying, as the people elected to make decisions. So let's put it back on the people to decide for themselves and lose all the time between now and then that you could be spending money on fixing the roads.
Why not just dismantle the legislature, then put everything on the darn ballot?
All right, so wait a minute, hang on. So when we heard ballot measure, I said to myself, all right, so when are we going to see this on the ballot?
Well, and again, I mean, we're taping before the final decisions.
Yeah, we do have to put out
made.
this disclaimer.
So we're not really sure what this is going to look like, or even if these reports are accurate. But my guess is it would go on the 2016 ballot. I don't think there's any way to get it on a ballot before that, which means we missed 2 more construction seasons unless there's some provision for moving ahead money in this deal, and I don't know where the heck they'd get it from. I'm with Steve. This is an abdication of leadership, responsibility. They should have been. I mean, they should have been able to come with a solution. Each chamber passed a piece of legislation. They ought to have been able to put it together.
Well, I think the blame here rests in the House, where you saw the House Speaker, Jace Bolger, come up with an absurd plan that would raise no new money and take money from schools and local governments to fund roads, which threw the whole thing into kilter. It was too far away from what the Senate had done to come to an agreement, and so you end up with this sort of kick the can down the road kind of solution. Well, this is the kind of, and I'm going to say this because he's leaving. This is the kind of leadership we have seen from Jace Bolger over and over again. This is one of the least productive legislatures in terms of meaningful things being done that we've seen.
Well, I think that's just absurd. I mean, Jace Bolger was able to bring a very difficult caucus behind the grand bargain, but back to roads. Bolger's been a very effective speaker. Back to roads here. As of last night, the Republicans were cobbling together a deal, and they lost Democratic votes. You had Democrats in the room saying, "Yeah, we'll agree with that," but then give us all of these unrelated things. And it's too late in the game to start throwing in unrelated items and trying to get your wish list passed in exchange for your vote.
You know, I think people in Michigan would say it's way too late in the game for them to be messing around with this for the last 3 weeks in lame duck, number one. This should have gotten done perhaps a little bit earlier. And then number 2, to wait until 2016 to have this on the ballot. What kind of condition could we be looking at our roads? And could there be some kind of special election? Could there be some kind of different ballot initiative?
I guess I don't know how. I'm not sure if they can make it a special election, but that doesn't really help you, I don't think, because if you did it in 15, there are no other elections that year. So the turnout for that election would likely be very low. That's not a good time to have something like this.
I don't think they can call a special election. I mean, we'll see, but I don't think they can call a special election. And they're going to have to. I mean, a lot of groups are going to have to spend a lot of money, the chamber and other business groups, to get this passed, because I'm telling you, there's no public sentiment to pass a tax hike for roads. People believe they're already paying enough for their roads, and it's not being spent well. So this is going to be a massive campaign to convince people that the money is needed and that it can be spent right.
Could this have been talked about in a different way, Stephen, in terms of looking at funding for schools as well, if you're going to up the sales tax?
Well, I mean, I think if we're going to look at the sales tax, I would rather put 2 cents on it than 1, because you don't get many bites of that apple. It's been 20 years since we revisited the sales tax, so you need a constitutional change to do it. I would have liked to see, if you're going to do this, put 2 cents on to send 1 cent to education or to local governments, and send the other cent to roads. That's the other real limitation of vision in this kind of proposal.
The legislature, I don't think, had the power to raise the sales tax for this. I mean, that's got to go.
That's got to go to the people. But but that's what they're doing.
And you're going to take it to people, might as well do that. But then you're not going to get it passed anyway. But in this case, look what's happened to gas prices over the last few months. I mean, they're inching down to $2 a gallon. Now is the time to raise the gas tax. You can raise the gas tax now, and people who just a few months ago, just in the spring, we're paying $3.89 a gallon. All of a sudden now they're paying $2.50, even with the gas tax. This was the time to do it, and they should have seen that opportunity.
All right, so say this goes to the ballot in 2016. Is there a possibility of anything being done somewhere along the line in the next year anyway?
I suspect that the governor has been preparing for the legislature not to help him out here and figuring out ways that he can sort of maybe move some money around to get more money into roads. But it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be anywhere near that billion and a half that you need each year to do a better job forever, to keep the roads in better condition in the first place. So I mean, this is a pretty bad defeat for the governor. I mean, and this is a governor who's got a lot done. Got a lot done in his first 4 years, but this has been on his agenda for I think 2 years now, and he just has not been able to break through.
Yeah, and again, I do want to throw out there that we're taping a little bit earlier in the day, and these are the reports that we're having come down on this.
Right.
So we'll be talking about it more in the future as well.